Good morning, all of you. Let us move on to our next topic, that is redox titrations. This redox titrations you might have studied in your plus 2 classes. And also, how will you define redox titrations? Redox reactions means the reactions in which, or the titration reaction in which both reduction and oxidation will be taking place simultaneously. In redox, the word in the word itself, the terms are there. That is red for reduction and OX for oxidation. So in this redox reaction means it will be having, or the reaction will be having both reduction and oxidation taking place simultaneously or taking place at the same time. That is what we can call as the redox reactions. And normally you have done some of the redox titration reactions, such as sometimes you might have heard of this redox reactions or redox titrations. For example, dichrometry, then permanganometry, permanganometry, etc. are some of the redox titrations. Okay, dichrometry means the titrations which are carried out using potassium dichromate solution. A standard potassium dichromate solution, we can call it as dichrometry. Permanganometry means we will be using potassium permanganate, KMnO4, as the standard solution. Okay, so such reactions, these are some of the examples for redox reactions. So once again I'll be repeating. Redox reactions means those reactions which are having reduction as well as oxidation reactions taking place simultaneously. Examples for some of the redox reactions are dichrometry, permanganometry. Dichrometry means using standard solutions of potassium dichromate. You might have seen this potassium dichromate. It is having a very shiny appearance and also very sweet color. It is having an orange red color. Okay. And also potassium permanganate, it is purple in color. It is also very shiny crystal. So it's very beautiful to see both the crystals. And also next, going on to reduction and oxidation. You might have studied this oxidation and reduction reactions, isn't it? So what is the difference between oxidation and reduction reaction? See, in the case of oxidation reaction means it will be addition of oxygen, isn't it? Addition of oxygen, or we can say it as the removal of hydrogen. If hydrogen is removed, we can call it as it is an oxidation or the addition of oxygen in a particular reaction. Then in the case of reduction means just the opposite of oxidation. It will be the addition of hydrogen or the removal of oxygen. Addition of hydrogen or the removal of oxygen. Okay, so this is the difference between these two, oxidation and reduction reaction. So in an oxidation reaction, in a redox reaction, both these reactions will be taking place simultaneously. Say for example, I am writing one equation, 5FeSO4 plus KMnO4 plus 8H plus, that is sulfuric acid, or 4H2SO4, giving Mn2 plus 5Fe3 plus, or 5FeSO4. Instead of it, I am writing as 5Fe3 plus. So here also I will be writing it as 5Fe2 plus. Okay, then 5Fe3 plus 4H2O. This is one of the redox reactions. See here, we are having Fe2 plus, then KMnO4, then Mn2 plus, 5Fe3 plus. See here, Fe2 plus, it is converted to, or after the reaction, this Fe2 plus, it is converted to Fe3 plus. What happens to this oxidation state? The oxidation state increases from 2 plus to 3 plus, isn't it? Oxidation state is converting to 2 plus to 3 plus. That means there will be an increase in the oxidation state. Fe2 plus means it is ferrous ion, isn't it? Fe2 plus is ferrous ion and Fe3 plus is ferric ion. Okay, Fe2 plus is ferrous ion and Fe3 plus is ferric ion. And also see here, this Fe2 plus, it is oxidized to Fe3 plus. Okay, so this reaction, this is the oxidation reaction. Here increase in the oxidation state. So this Fe2 plus, it is oxidized to Fe3 plus. And also see here KMnO4. What happens to this KMnO4? What about the oxidation state of KMnO4 here? How will you calculate the oxidation state? K means it will be having plus 1. You have to find out the oxidation state of X. So we can put it as X. Plus for oxygen it is having minus 2. So minus 2 into 4 minus 8, that will be equal to 0. So plus 1 minus 8. That means X minus 7 is equal to 0, or X is equal to plus 7. Isn't it? So here this manganese will be having plus 7 oxidation state, or 7 plus oxidation state. And see, what about the conversion of Mn7 plus? It is converted to Mn2 plus, isn't it? That means the oxidation state is decreased. That means here this manganese, it is reduced. So this is a reduction reaction. So Fe2 plus is oxidized to Fe3 plus, and Mn7 plus, it is reduced to Mn2 plus. So here in this reaction, both of them, this reduction and oxidation is taking place in a single reaction. So such type of reactions, we can call it as a redox reaction. Okay, so if we are titrating it using KMnO4, suppose we are taking more salt solution in a conical flask and potassium permanganate in the burette, and also see, you know, this potassium permanganate, it is having a purple color. So we are taking this potassium permanganate in the burette, and if we are titrating both these, then we will be having this this Fe2 plus will be converted to Fe3 plus. Iron will be oxidized to, or ferrous will be oxidized to ferric. Okay, and also this type of reactions, if it is carried out in such a manner, then we can call it as a redox titration. Okay, and also then coming to the case of oxidizing agents and reducing agents. See here, which one is the oxidizing agent, which one is acting as the oxidizing agent? Potassium permanganate is acting as the oxidizing agent, isn't it? So what is the purpose of an oxidizing agent? Oxidizing agent means it will be accepting, or it will be gaining electrons. It will accept or gain electrons. And at the same time, in the case of a reducing agent, what is the function of a reducing agent? It will be losing electrons. Reducing agent lose electrons. At the same time, oxidizing agent accept or gains electrons. Okay. And also we have to go through some of the examples for oxidizing agents. So some of the common oxidizing agents are, the first one, that is potassium permanganate. It is the most powerful oxidizing agent, potassium permanganate, KMnO4. Then comes potassium dichromate, K2Cr2O7, potassium dichromate. Then ceric sulfate, it's not common, ceric sulfate. Then iodine and potassium iodate, iodine and also potassium sulfate, potassium iodate, iodine and potassium iodate. So these are the common oxidizing agents. Okay, so the most common oxidizing agents are potassium permanganate and potassium dichromate. You have to study at least these two names. Then comes ceric sulfate, then iodine and potassium iodate. Then coming to the case of reducing agents. Reducing agents, normally we will be using ferrous ammonium sulfate. Ferrous ammonium sulfate. Ferrous ammonium sulfate, it is otherwise called as Morse salt. Ferrous ammonium sulfate, or commonly it is called as Morse salt, and the equivalent weight of Morse salt, it is 392. Then another important reducing agent is ferrous sulfate, FeSO4. Then oxalic acid. Then potassium iodide, Ki. Potassium iodide. So these are some of the most common reducing agents. Okay, so here in this reaction we have seen some of the reducing agents. See here, FeSO4 it is the reducing agent and KMnO4 is the oxidizing agent. And at the same time, this reducing agent reduces Fe2 plus to Fe3 plus. Okay, so reducing agent, these are some of the examples. Ferrous ammonium sulfate or more salt, it is having Fe2 plus ions. Okay, then this ferrous sulfate, it is Fe2 plus. Then oxalic acid H2, C2O4, then potassium iodide. These are some of the reducing agents. Hope you are clear with this. And also normally while we are doing this volumetric titration reactions, we will be having one formula. Normally we will be writing it as N1V1 is equal to N2V2. Isn't it? This is the relation connecting used for the titration. And also here in this normally the volumetric correlation, there is another one more correlation is also there, that is M1 V1 divided by N1, that is equal to M2 V2 divided by N2. M1 V1 divided by N1, that is equal to M2 V2 divided by N2. And also this can be represented like this also, that is M1 V1 is equal to M2 V2 into N1 divided by N2. M2 V2 into N1 divided by N2. Okay, and also this N1 divided by N2, it is called as the stoichiometric ratio. That is how many equivalents of acid or alkali will, stoichiometric ratio. That is how many equivalents of acid or alkali will be reacting. That gives the stoichiometric ratio. That means if we are saying one equivalent of NaOH, that will be equal to 20 ml of one equivalent of NaOH is equivalent to 20 ml one equivalent of HCl. Okay, so there the stoichiometric ratio will be equal to 1 by 1, that is equal to 1. Okay, so N1 by N2, it is the stoichiometric ratio. So normally we will be using this stoichiometric ratio, or including this stoichiometric ratio, we are calculating the reaction, or we are calculating the weight. Okay, so M1 V1 is equal to M2 V2 into N1 by N2. We are multiplying it with the stoichiometric ratio. And for each particular reaction, the stoichiometric ratio will be a constant one. So while following this permanganometry and dichrometry, I will be telling the stoichiometric ratio of each of that reactions. Okay. Then next comes the permanganometry. Hope you are clear up to this. Then the next comes the permanganometry. Permanganometry. Permanganometry means here normally the titration reaction will be between more salt against potassium permanganate. More salt against KMnO4. This is the main reaction that we are doing in permanganometry. In your S5, you have to do these practicals, all these volumetric titrations, then permanganometry as well as dichrometry. Okay. So in this permanganometry, we will be using more salt. More salt means it is ferrous ammonium sulfate. More salt against potassium permanganate. So here, while during this, while we are doing this titration, here if we are taking more salt in a conical flask, we will be adding dilute sulfuric acid to it. Okay, so if we are taking more salt, or if we are dissolving more salt in water, so before dissolving, it is a must to add dilute sulfuric acid before adding water. Okay, otherwise this more salt will be the more salt will be converted to another form, or it will get it will be reacting with water. Okay, so not reaction, it will be hydrolyzed. More salt got hydrolyzed. Okay, so this more salt, if we are taking as a solid, and if you have to dissolve, first of all we have to treat it with dilute sulfuric acid. Then what happens is that, so here in this reaction, KMnO4, it acts as the oxidizing agent. KMnO4 acts as the oxidizing agent, while this more salt will be acting as the reducing agent. KMnO4 acts as the oxidizing agent and more salt acts as the reducing agent. So here this KMnO4 oxidizes the reducing agent FeSO4. In this more salt, it is ferrous ammonium sulfate, and also it will be having ferrous sulfate in it, isn't it? Ferrous sulfate plus ammonium ions will be there in more salt. So what happens is that this oxidizing agent KMnO4, it will be oxidizing the reducing agent FeSO4. So FeSO4 will be converting to Fe2SO4 thrice. That means here Fe will be having the oxidation state Fe2 plus, and here it will be, this ion will be in the oxidation state of Fe3 plus. Okay, so the oxidizing agent KMnO4, it oxidizes FeSO4 to Fe2SO4 thrice, or KMnO4 will be oxidizing the reducing agent. The reducing agent is more salt or ferrous sulfate. So the oxidizing agent oxidizes the reducing agent Fe2 plus to Fe3 plus. Okay, so I will be writing the equation so that you will be clear about it. So I am writing the reaction. The reaction will be like this. I already written the reaction. 5Fe2 plus MnO4 minus plus 8H plus giving Mn2 plus 5Fe3 plus 4H2O. So in this reaction, KMnO4 oxidizes Fe2 plus to Fe3 plus. So this is the oxidation reaction, and for this oxidation reaction, this KMnO4 will be helping. And again, this MnO4 minus, it is reduced to Mn2 plus. That means here Mn is having plus 7 oxidation state, and here it is having plus 2. So this particular part means it is reduction reaction. Okay, so one of it is oxidation and the another one is reduction. That we had already discussed this particular reaction. So this is the redox reaction, overall redox reaction. So you have to study this redox reaction also. Okay, this overall redox reaction you have to study. And here, what is the indicator used in permanganometry? That is the next question. What is the indicator? See, here we are taking more salt and KMnO4, and already you know what about the color of KMnO4. It is having a purple color, isn't it? KMnO4, it is having a purple color. So there is no need of another indicator for this particular reaction. Normally in permanganometry and not in dichrometry. In permanganometry we are not using any indicator. See here, KMnO4 will itself, it is having a purple color. Therefore KMnO4 itself acts as a self-indicator. KMnO4 itself acts as a self-indicator. Okay, so the endpoint, what about the endpoint of this particular reaction? After if the reaction is completed, the endpoint will be the appearance of a pale pink color. The endpoint will be the appearance of a pale pink color. This is the endpoint. Endpoint will be the appearance of a pale pink color. And also the stoichiometric ratio in this reaction, that is already we had written, that is M1V1 is equal to M2V2 into N1 divided by N2. So for this reaction, the stoichiometric ratio of KMnO4 versus more salt. KMnO4 versus more salt is 1.5. It is 1.5. KMnO4 versus more salt is, it is 1:5. KMnO4 versus more salt is 1:5. Okay. And also here there is no external catalyst we are adding. See here, it's an auto-catalyzed reaction. That means auto-catalyzed reaction means one of the reagent itself will be acting as a catalyst. So therefore we can call it as an auto-catalyzed reaction. Okay, auto means self. So it is a self-catalyzed reaction. No external reagents will be added for the catalysis. So, and also one more point to be noted down is that, see, if we are adding KMnO4 solution rapidly to this more salt, see, KMnO4 it is taking in the burette, and this more salt or ferrous sulfate it is we are taking in the conical flask. Okay, so if we are adding suddenly this KMnO4 solution to ferrous sulfate at the start of the reaction, that is while during the initial time of the reaction, if we are adding say 110 ml directly rapidly into this ferrous sulfate solution, what happens is that there will be the formation of manganese dioxide in that particular solution, MnO2, and this MnO2 will be brown in color. So this will cause error to that particular reaction. So a rapid addition of KMnO4 at the start of the reaction is not allowed for this particular reaction. Okay, so if rapid addition of KMnO4 is done, what happens? It will lead to the formation of a brown color in that particular solution, and it will be due to the presence of or due to the formation of manganese dioxide in that particular solution. So during the start of the reaction, it will be added dropwise only. Otherwise, it leads to the formation of manganese dioxide. That is one point to be noted down. Okay, rapid addition of KMnO4 causes the formation of MnO2 manganese dioxide, which will lead to error in that particular titration. Okay, so rapid addition is not allowed, only drop by drop addition is allowed for this particular reaction. Okay, and also if the sulfuric acid, see, already I told you that there will be addition of dilute sulfuric acid, isn't it? If the sulfuric acid is also not sufficient in this particular reaction, what happens is that if acid is insufficient, what happens? It will lead to the formation of precipitate. So a 20 ml of dilute sulfuric acid is also added to this particular reaction. Okay. So if acid is insufficient, it leads to precipitation. So these are some of the important points to be noted down in permanganometry. Then one more reaction in permanganometry, that is the titration of oxalic acid against KMnO4. Titration of oxalic acid against KMnO4 potassium permanganate. That is another reaction in permanganometry. See here, oxalic acid, the formula is H2C2O4, and also we can, otherwise we can write it as COOH, COOH, H2C2O4. Okay, so this is oxalic acid. See, normally for this reaction, this KMnO4 it is taken in the burette, and oxalic acid it is taken in the conical flask. Here also, what is the indicator? Indicator means it will be KMnO4. KMnO4 itself acts as the self-indicator. KMnO4 is the self-indicator. And see, one difference from the previous reaction is that, see here, oxalic acid while taking, we have to do this particular reaction at a temperature of 60 to 70 degrees Celsius. Okay. At first, we have to pipette out oxalic acid, and then you have to heat it to a temperature of 60 to 70 degrees Celsius. And at that temperature itself, by maintaining that particular temperature, you have to titrate it with potassium permanganate. Okay. And also here also in the presence of dilute sulfuric acid. Dilute sulfuric acid is one among the reagents, and oxalic acid it is titrated at a temperature, or the temperature should be maintained at this particular range, 60 to 70 degrees Celsius. Then please write down the reaction between oxalic acid and potassium permanganate, that is 2MnO4 minus. MnO4 minus means we can simply write it as KMnO4. Okay. 2MnO4 minus plus 5C2O4 2 minus. C2O4 2 minus means it is H2C2O4. Instead of H2, I am writing it as in the ionic form. Okay. Then plus 16H plus in the plus presence of sulfuric acid, that already we had told, giving the products will be 2Mn2 plus 10CO2 plus 8H2O. This is the reaction. 2MnO4 minus plus 5 C2O4 2 minus 16H plus. Here the products will be Mn2 plus 10 CO2 plus 8 H2O. Here also this manganese KMnO4 will be reduced to Mn2 plus, Mn7 plus it is reduced to Mn2 plus. Oxalic acid it is oxidized to carbon dioxide and water. Okay. So here this heat sufficient temperature it is required, that is the reaction will be taking place at 60 to 70 degrees Celsius. So what is the purpose of heating this heat in this particular reaction is that is while we are doing the titration, that is while we are adding permanganate to oxalic acid solution, carbon dioxide is formed there, isn't it? So if the temperature is maintained at this range, what happens? The so formed carbon dioxide will be escaped, or it will be removed easily at this particular temperature. Gas will be easily escaping at a somewhat higher temperature, isn't it? So while during the reaction, this carbon dioxide can be easily removed if we are maintaining this particular temperature. So here in this particular reaction, this temperature it is very, very important in the case of oxalic acid versus potassium permanganate. Okay. So next is the next is the redox reaction, that is dichrometry, that we can go through in our next session. Okay. Thank you and have a nice day.